¿Qué pasó, mi gente? It's MarkTip25. I had already tried to make this video earlier, and I had posted it, but I've decided to redo it because my thoughts were not very straightforward. I kept stuttering. It just was not a good look. So I just wanted to try this again, be a little bit more calm with my thoughts. So here we are again. I'm here to talk about who I think is the greatest of all time in the NBA. And I'm just going to come out and say it. I think it's Bill Russell. I'm going to catch a lot of heat for that comment and that opinion. But that's strictly it. That's my opinion. Because it doesn't matter what stats we put out, what we say, everyone is going to have some sort of opinion as to who's the best and who's not. Because, stats, especially nowadays, you see all the stats that people put up and all these reports that come out, like, this player is the first player to put this many points, this many assists on this percentage of shoot. You know what I mean? There's always that shit. Which is why I'm not a fan of, I don't care about the stats. The stats don't mean shit to me if it doesn't equate to wins. Because look at LeBron right now. He's putting up really good numbers. He's having a good season individually. But it's not leading to wins. Whether you can blame that on the team or not is really, again, subjective. Because, again, look at his turnovers. Look at his free throw shooting. He hasn't been shooting well, guys, from the free throw line. And as a person who's supposed to be the greatest of all time, I mean, that cannot happen. I don't know much about Bill Russell's free throw percentage. I'm not sure if it's any better or worse. But you know what? Overall, Bill Russell still managed to win championships because it wasn't all about him putting up the numbers, as far as scoring-wise. He knew how to distribute. He knew how to defend. He knew what his role was, and he was the leader of the team. He knew how to get his team to championships. He bought into the system like everyone else did, and they won through Red Auerbach and Bill Russell's leadership. And there was a time where Bill Russell was a player coach. A player coach. That's ridiculous. Bill Russell has won 11 titles. LeBron James has won 3 and lost 6. If LeBron had won every single title for those 8 straight years, then I would put him as the greatest. I would put him as the greatest, guys. Because I'm sorry, losses are losses and wins are wins. It doesn't, and at the point, it doesn't matter the circumstance. You could say, oh, well, LeBron didn't have enough help. Okay, but if he made the finals for 8 straight years, he had help. Sorry to tell you, he had help. Michael Jordan had help. Every team that makes the finals, whether they win it or lose it, has help. They were good enough to make it. So we can stop with that bullshit argument. Again, I think rings matter, championships matter, because why else would they play the damn game? And that goes for any sports league, guys. Any sports league. It's not just the NBA. They all play for championships. If you're all playing for just the money, then you don't have your priorities straight. Yes, money is helpful. Yes, money can be put to your family, can give you a better life, no doubt. But you know how you get even more money? That's right. You keep winning. You put yourself in positions to win. I don't understand. You could say, oh, well, LeBron James didn't have a coach like Red Auerbach or Greg Popovich. Dude, I'm going to just sit here and say this. And again, I'm going to get hate for this, but I have to tell you, LeBron was not coachable by any stretch of the imagination. There have been many reports that he, Wade, and Bosch did not want Eric Spoelstra. But Pat Riley put his foot down and say, no, you're going to freaking play for this damn coach. And you're going to like it. And guess what? They did. You know, this management that LeBron has now, they're all trying to cater to him. But LeBron does not always know what's best. Bill Russell knew how to buy into the system, how to work with the coach, how to work with his teammates. They say, well, it takes a team to win a championship. Okay, well, then LeBron's not being a good enough team player. And early in his career, Jordan wasn't being a good team player. He was putting up great numbers, but he wasn't being a team player. He learned later on that in order to win, he had to shoot less, he had to score less, he had to pass the ball a little more. And as you could see, his freaking scoring numbers went down the moment he started getting a good team and trying to win championships. So you have to learn that. You have to learn it takes a team to win. And LeBron, he could pass it to shooters. And you know what? That's the thing. Like, he has to know when to rely on the shooters and when to take it in himself. If their shot's not falling, you take it in. If their shots are falling, then yeah, keep passing it to them. But you got to know what's going on. And a lot of times, LeBron is being touted as having this great IQ, but then he jacks up threes that he's not very good at. And he makes errant passes that get turned over. You know? I believe Bill Russell is the greatest of all time because he knew how to lead. He knew how to be a team player. He was a great defender, which LeBron lacks right now. Like, a lot of the great players played defense. LeBron is one of the only few that hardly does. If he would play more defense, he probably would at least have 2 or 3 more championships. And he would be right on the same page as Jordan. But he's not. Because he himself did not put in the effort on the defensive end. And I'm going to give you some arguments against why people, don't believe Bill Russell is. And I'm going to just dispute them. Because I'm tired of the utter disrespect that today's fans give to players from back in the day. You know? The players that Bill Russell played with, everyone's like, oh, they're all Hall of Famers. Yeah, he had Casey Jones, Sam Jones, Tommy Heinsohn. I think later in his career, Havlicek. There's a lot of players that he played with. And yeah, they were great. But then some of those players were white. And everyone loves to throw around that old argument. Oh, well, he played in a league of white people. Okay, so Wilt Chamberlain didn't exist? Elgin Baylor didn't exist? His teammates KC and Sam Jones didn't exist? Nate Archibald didn't exist? Oscar Robertson didn't exist? You know what I mean? I don't get it. Those guys, they set the tone for NBA players. Again, I mentioned Elgin Baylor because, again, he was a player that never won it. Had he probably waited one more year, he probably could have had at least one on his belt. But no, every year they kept losing to the Celtics. Jerry West. And see, Jerry West is a white player. The utter disrespect. He's the damn logo. Yeah. Do I put him less than Russell? Hell yeah, I do, because championships matter. But then you try to disrespect, Jerry West as, stat-wise. I hate how everyone loves to use stats when it's convenient. But Jerry West was a hell of a shooter. But, he's a white boy, he can't play basketball, he wouldn't last in today's league. You know, that's silly. And that argument has to stop. Because you know what? They cannot help the era they play in. By that logic, what? They should have just never been born? How stupid is that? So Jerry West is a heck of a player. All the players that were in the 60s were great enough to make it and win. Oh, well, there were less games in the playoffs. There were less games in the finals. So the fuck what? That's not the freaking players' fault. The league came up with those systems. Oh, there weren't as many players. Again, the league came up with the lack of teams. Okay? There was a huge, influx of teams. You know, they had a few, then they went to 8, and then they went back to 14 near the end of Russell's career. Like a few years into, the end of Russell's career. 14 is still a good number, guys. 14. Okay? 14. It may not be as much as today, but that's still twice, almost twice the amount as 8 or 7. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous to sit here and say that he had no competition or that he didn't face as many teams. Okay, by that logic, Larry Bird didn't face as many teams. Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, Julius Erving, all these other players that were before, the expansion of now. Their championships don't count is what you're telling me because they didn't face as many teams? I'm sorry, guys. That's bullshit. That argument makes no sense because, again, that's the league. That's the league's doing. The league can add teams or take, or I guess if the teams, they fold. That's different. But that's not a player situation. You cannot blame Bill Russell for playing against 8 teams in that stretch of his career. Because then you can freaking put it on Magic Johnson for playing less teams. All in all, it's the worst argument to have. Because you got to play who is in front of you. You got to play who you're going to play. And it didn't matter who was in front of Bill Russell. He defended well. He played well enough to win championships. You can't ask for more than that. Isn't that what people want? Isn't that what a team wants? To win championships? Because if that is not what you all want, then why even have a sports league? Why even play for anything? That's why it astounds me when people like to put people like Carmelo Anthony over players like Bill Russell. The guy never even won a championship, never even seen an NBA Finals. And yeah, you can claim he was really good at scoring, but he sure as hell hogged the ball. He sure as hell never made his teammates any better. Because everyone likes to put that on LeBron. Oh, he makes his teammates better. Look at this year. He sure as heck didn't. And whether it's because LeBron is declining or not, this is really hurting his case for being the greatest of all time. Because again, in order to make that even a valid argument, you have to win more championships. And he has 3 years left. If he does not win another championship in 3 years, I'm sorry, that's a hit on his career. That's a hit on his legacy. Going towards the greatest of all time. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not one of them, but he's not the greatest. Because, again, if he had won more championships, then hell yeah, I would be on that bandwagon. I would sit here and say, yes, LeBron is better than Michael or Bill Russell or any of these other players that came before him that were leaders and had won more than just 3 championships. So, I don't know. And you always say, oh, because look at these other, YouTubers, like Dom2K, B Souls, Legend of Winning, Rusty Buckets. You know, everyone says, "Oh, have context. Gotta have context." Well, look at Shaq. He wasn't the same when he was with Miami, and that's what pisses me off about the whole freaking Kobe Bryant and Shaq thing. Kobe Bryant won 5 championships. Oh, well, that's because Shaq carried him. No, look at one of Dom 2K's videos. They helped each other. You seriously think Shaq would have won championships without Kobe? Like, if say he didn't have Kobe in those Laker years, you're saying he would have won a championship? I don't think so. I don't think he probably would have gotten close, but I don't think he would have won them. Because Kobe put him in positions to win as well. It was a dual effort. They were a dynamic duo for a reason. Why do, like, if that's the case, why do they call it the Shaq and Kobe era? You know? If anything, they should just call it the Shaquille O'Neal era. If you're going to make that argument. But you don't. You know why? Because Kobe was just as important. So that's why his rings fucking count. And see, that's another thing. You all like to discredit rings. Like, you all are going to discredit Kevin Durant's rings because, oh, you played on a super team. No. 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 A championship is a championship, no matter how you fucking slice it. Because, again, that is why they play. So what, LeBron James is the only one that can freaking skip out on a team and try to win championships to benefit his career, but not KD? Oh, it's the way he did it. Who gives a shit how he did it? He did it. He has 2 fucking Finals MVPs. That's what you all also love to claim when it comes to that. Oh, well, how many Finals MVPs did Bill Russell win? Bro, the Finals MVP was not a thing until later in Bill Russell's career. And if that was the case, Bill Russell probably would have won all of them. All of them. If that was the case. So I'm sorry to tell you guys, no. MVPs are not everything, especially since they didn't exist in Bill Russell's era. And you all tend to dispute who should have been MVP anyway. So what difference does it make? And see, while we're on the subject of the Hall of Fame, you all seem to get pissed off at who makes it anyway. Like Yao Ming, right? Oh, he shouldn't be in there. If he should be in there, Chris Webber should be. And you know, he's under consideration right now. He's under consideration. But see, that's why I'm so tired of this entire argument of who's the GOAT. Because no matter what anyone says, no matter what evidence is portrayed, no matter how many championships people win, you all don't care. You all don't give a shit. In my opinion, it's Bill Russell because he won championships, and you cannot take that away from him. No matter what type of freaking story you try to spin, he has won 11 championships. Period. We've seen Bill Russell's career. We have old tapes of him. We've seen Michael Jordan's career. We have footage. We have witnessed LeBron James's career. It's happening before our eyes. And I'm sorry, LeBron is not better than either of them. And again, context. I'm tired of that word, context. You play who's in front of you. If you're good enough to make the finals, you should be good enough to win. And if you lose, period. And then the thing about, oh, well, LeBron, you know, he never lost in the first round. Okay, but there's been a couple times he never even made the playoffs. Whereas Michael did. Every year he was in it up until he went with the Wizards. He was in the playoffs. Period. Oh, well, he was a rookie. And he was also in his second year in those first 2 years. Okay. Yet Michael Jordan doesn't get a pass for not making it out of the first round because he was a rookie or in his second year. And I think in one of those years, he messed up his leg. So he does not get a pass at all? See, that's the thing. I'm getting tired of bringing down LeBron because LeBron has his own legacy. And you know what? It is what it is. If he wins another championship, I'll be happy for him, okay? I'm going to be on the record. If he wins a championship, I'm going to be happy for him. But as of right now, I don't see it happening. Until they can get another free agent, he's not winning another championship. And even if he just ends up with just 3 overall, 3 is better than none. So you can sit here and say that he is in the Hall of Fame. That's all I'm going to say on this now. Bill Russell is the greatest of all time, in my opinion. And that's how I'm going to leave it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Adiós.